Hey everyone, welcome back. This video is an update on some interesting projects that I'm working on, and so I'm just kind of going to go through and talk about them. So the Nighthawk, we're currently on version 2 of the design, and so we're doing a second pair of the version 2, and so you can see here this is the base towers that are finish assembled. And so for this particular build we decided to change how we are constructing the Nighthawk horn itself. And so originally the horn was comprised of 8 separate pieces, but I've simplified the design so that it's now only 4 pieces. So it's just a top and a bottom and then the sides. And so you can see here this is all one piece, where before there was a horizontal split line and then also a vertical split line through it. So it just cleans up the overall appearance. So you can see here the entire side pedal on the CNC in my workshop being made. So version 3 of the Nighthawk will be a pretty different design, and that's going to be something that's going to be introduced probably the end of 2024. So that's just an update on the Nighthawks. System 2807. So 2807 is comprised of the 1798 base cabinet, which has been very popular. So we have a finished system in stock available, and so you can choose the woofer driver that you'd like to use, and then we'll finish the crossover based on the woofer that you decide to use. Now there's a few options. The current woofer that's installed is the Acoustic Elegance Dipole 15, and so that's a lower sensitivity woofer, but it offers bass extension to 20 Hertz. The alternative would be a driver more like the Bema 15LX60 V2, which is going to have much higher sensitivity, probably around 100 dB instead of 90, but the bass extension is only going to go down to about 35 Hertz. So there's trade-offs there and pros and cons to what woofer model you decide to go with. With this system that's currently in inventory, it's using the latest version of the ES290, which was recently changed about only a month ago. So the new number is 2386 for the ES290, and so it was formerly 1670. So I'll just click on the link here just to go through some of the changes that I've made to the ES290. So we've made the horn deeper, both in the throat and in the extensions that go out the back. And so the reason we made the throat deeper is so that it provides a little better loading near cutoff, which is at 300 Hertz. And the extension out the back is simply done so that we can have physical time alignment with the BNC DCM50 compression driver. So you can see it there in the section view. So we've just extended the rear of the horn out so that the super tweeter can be time aligned with that. So some other changes are the rubber ball system, which allows for tilting of the horn. So the design has pockets for the rubber balls, and by sizing the rear ball, it allows either straight level of the horn, or you can provide a downward tilt for use, for example, with the 1798 base cabinet, which positions the horn just slightly higher than the listening position, so providing about 3 degrees of downward tilt aims that mid-range and tweeter at the listening at the proper listening height. Okay, so that was another change, and then just some improved decals on the top with the horn number in that as well for that. So like I mentioned earlier, we have this system in stock in the grain matched veneer. When I say grain match, the grain continues from straight section to straight section. So that took some careful layout on the plywood sheet when we cut these pieces. The plywood comes with the walnut veneer pre-applied, and so we have to lay out the pieces carefully so that that grain just continues through the horn in that way. So this is the first time we've done that with the 1798 cabinet. So yeah, let me know if you would like a quote on that system. Another project that I'm working on for a customer is a large scale horn speaker system for home. And so this is a 100 hertz bi-radial custom designed, and it also includes a custom designed compression driver. So here you see this is a design that I come up with, which utilizes a 10-inch 18 sound paper cone mid-range driver. And so we've 3D printed a housing for that 10-inch, and then it also includes a phase plug. So I was able to get the 3D CAD model of the driver itself and then carefully design the the phase plug to closely follow the front shape of the mid-range cone there. So that's something that you'll see test data on soon by using a plane wave tube. So a plane wave tube is an alternate way of measuring a compression driver rather than mounting it on the horn. So the horn is only about 15% complete right now, but we want to kind of fully develop the driver, and so to do that, plane wave tube will allow you to collect test data on the compression driver. So it's a 10-foot long, 5-inch diameter tube that's filled with polyfill, and so it allows you to get test data by positioning a microphone in front of the compression driver inside the tube. And so you'll see it in some of the old JBL publications, in that you'll have the frequency response on a horn, but they'll also have the response on a plane wave tube. So now you may be wondering why I'm doing a 10-inch compression driver. So this was based on testing last year where we mounted the 10-inch mid-range in the 1723 horn. And so it's a large format mid-range horn using a 200 hertz cutoff. And so you can see, even just by the test data on that, in terms of distortion, the distortion was the lowest that I've measured. And so, and then the subjective sound quality was just, there was just tremendous ease to the sound. It was effortless, particularly with male vocals. And so just based on my listening impressions on this setup, I decided to continue the design further. And so the phase plug is going to clean up the part of the frequency spectrum kind of in the 500 to 1.5 kilohertz, where there was some coloration with this design that I had done last year, which was simply mounting the 10-inch driver onto a horn. You can see here there's just a void of air in front of the driver, and so that was introducing some resonances and coloring the sound slightly. And so the phase plug should improve the sensitivity, eliminate that coloration, and also the compression ratio on this is actually very low. It's only a 4:1. Typically you'd see with a compression driver it'd be around 10:1, and so we're trying to just simply gently guide those sound waves into the throat of the 100 hertz bi-radial, which is 125 millimeter diameter throat. So here's just a random photo. My twin brother and I set up we're messing around with active DSP, and then just comparing it against the passive crossover solution. So this is a system that went out during the holidays, and I didn't get very many photos of it simply because the customer wanted to take delivery, and it went right out of my workshop into his van. And so it's a three-way system, and I featured the bass cabinet in another video, but it was done in the bird's eye maple, and then the horn, which is the ES450, done in solid birch with the satin varnish. And so it came out really nice. This system in room sensitivity was 105, and so if you're using low power tube amps, this system is going to be able to bring out the best sound quality from your tube amp in the way that it's extremely high sensitivity. So now I featured this a few months ago. It's a three-way open baffle. So just mentioning that I have a product page set up. You can see the cost if you're interested. All the details are published on my site. So they're $5,000 Canadian each, so $10,000 Canadian a pair, which I think is around $7K US dollars per pair. And either cherry, walnut, oak, your wood species of choice on that. This is shown in cherry. I still think somebody should order it in walnut, and I think it would look amazing. But so as it stands, this is available to custom order. Now, I should mention too that my focus for 2024 won't be on open baffle or dipole or anything like that. Kind of forging my own path on focusing very heavily on developing backloaded horn designs, mainly because what I've discovered is the actual sensitivity, real life, down to earth sensitivity. The backloaded horns are offering significantly higher sensitivity, which 90% of my customers are using low power tube amps. So I just feel as though this is going to cater to them more adequately. So by focusing on backloaded horns, so some exciting designs coming up soon on that. So now Super Tweeter number 2258. So this was using the Fostex T900A. So what I'll be doing soon is developing a horn lens for the T90A, which is significantly more affordable. And so the T90A actually uses the same diaphragm as the T900A. So there should not be too many changes required to the wood horn lens there to make it work with the T90A. So just something to keep an eye on. Future testing, I'll be testing the TAD 4003, so that's going to be coming up very soon, which will be tested on the ES450 bi-radial. So I actually had a custom horn made for this driver because of its unique 1.5 inch diameter throat. So I didn't want to do a throat adapter to do the testing, so I had a ground up kind of ES450 made for this compression driver. So another driver customer had ordered and sent to me is the flagship tweeter from Fostex, the T500 Mark III. It retails for over $1,200 US each. So I'll be able to get some test data and listening impressions on this guy. So that's something that's coming soon. Now, I have a build commission which is nearly done on a speaker system 1815. And so if you don't know, 1815 is a 70 liter sealed 15 inch solution, two-way, using the ES600 bi-radial, and it doesn't require corner placement, even though it looks like it's designed for corner. Doesn't require that. It produces excellent detailed bass, and so it's a high sensitivity design. You're going to get the anechoic sensitivity is around 97. So in room, you're probably going to be around 102, I would say, with this. And so it's a good size format. It's not too big. Now the build commission is for walnut. So the walnut horn, walnut veneer. We've grain matched the walnut veneer, and then we've done a number of design changes to this cabinet for this particular build, which includes 3/8 roundovers on the base cabinet, which I think is going to help with the overall appearance and matching it with the bi-radial on top. Now I have pictures here. This is the pair. We have a pair for the customer, but like I mentioned, I'm building two pair, so that there's going to be an extra pair in inventory. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me. The other pair of walnut horns look very similar to this, which I think the wood that we got in that looks particularly nice with the high contrast wood grain, and it just these horns are looking very nice. So if you're interested in the 1815 build, just let me know. Okay, so another project that I'm working on is, again, just following along the same kind of agenda for developing more backloaded horns. Following on the success of the the 2095 and also the wide baffle 2314 backloaded horn projects, I decided to develop a bass horn that covers 30 to 100 hertz. And so if you are modeling a bass horn in horn rasp, you'll see that it needs to be rather large. And so rather than building just one giant bass horn, I discovered that you can actually stack them in a modular sense. And so for this design to work, it needs to have the stacking. And so if you were to use it in a typical stereo setup, you'd actually have 4 cabinets total. And so you can see here the overall dimensions, 74 centimeters wide by 60 centimeters deep. And so it uses the 15-inch B&C 15DS115. So this is a newer driver from B&C, and it is very optimized for horn loading. The QTS on it is only 0.19, so that is just going to, I mean, when you plug this into horn rasp, it's just wow. The performance, at least on paper, we're getting 115 dB sensitivity through the bass with a pair of cabinets. They're double stacked, wired in parallel, so you can get some pretty amazing sensitivity numbers. And so that's where we're going with it. Now it uses my ES spiral geometry, which is an equation within SolidWorks, and so it's following that equation and then producing this spiral shape. Now I didn't so these are going to be prototypes, so these are basically finished, and I'll have test data soon, and so they're just going in to be varnished. Now just kind of generally speaking, when I do a project, I develop a prototype and test it, and then if required, I'll develop another prototype. I'm not in the habit of using customers as my R&D, kind of like a guinea pig to see what works and what doesn't. I routinely get customers calling me, I guess potential customers calling me, and kind of have horror stories of things they've purchased in the past from other businesses like myself, and I'm not going to mention any names. A lot of the businesses aren't even around anymore, but basically they were, test mules for kind of random ideas on, speaker systems or bass cabinets, and they were basically victimized because they were not happy with the end result. So I am not in the habit of doing that. I'm building these prototypes to test, and then both with measurement and subjective listening in a variety of listening spaces, and then kind of assessing if there's any changes required. And I don't even feature a lot of projects that I work on, either because they're complete blunders for various reasons. Either the driver that I'm testing has some significant design flaws, or it just, things like that. So just bear that in mind, kind of give you a little added confidence. If you're asking for a quote on something, I will certainly tell you if I think it's something I'm comfortable with in terms of whether it's going to meet that threshold for sound quality. And so more and more what I'm going to be doing this year is going back to some previous designs and then further developing the designs. So for example, the 1815 project, I'm now on the second version of the passive crossover. So this is available as a plan, as a turnkey plan set. When I build these speakers, I'll be revisiting the passive crossover again and seeing if there's any room for improvement. And so that's just a continuation. I don't want to be spitting out designs left, right, and center that aren't kind of fully developed. I want to make sure that it's consistent and meeting a certain target for sound quality. Just an exciting project there with the front horn. Technically, it's a front horn. Another interesting little project that's now on my site, available as a 3D CAD model, is a very basic horn for a two-way stand mount speaker. And so I offer the 3D CAD model so that you can either 3D print it or have it CNC machined. And the nice thing there's a number of nice things about this, in that it's easy to make both with 3D printing and with CNC, because it's just one setup with the CNC, and then there's no infill required in the design if you're 3D printing. And so I've decided to offer assembly and detail drawings of a suggested cabinet for the horn. And I took it even further than that. I'm actually recommending a particular woofer. And I chose the SB Acoustics, the SB17 size series of basket, which is available in either paper, Textream, or aluminum. And so it's a broad kind of range of options there for this series of woofer from SB Acoustics. And so I've simply designed kind of a basic cabinet that you can follow. And so the 3D CAD model for the horn includes the baffle cutout to clear the driver and to mount the woofer. And I even included a kind of a decorative bezel to go over top the woofer to give it kind of a more of a finished look. You can see there. Now the horn lens itself is, when you order the 3D CAD file, it's available in two versions. So you get two different CAD file configurations. You get one that's 48 millimeters thick and then 38 millimeters thick. So it just depends on your overall project design what you would go with, and each horn would have a different cutoff frequency by having the different depth to the horn. Okay, so it's a 1-inch horn throat for a compression driver, and the compression driver that's kind of the default one is the Celestion CDX1 1425. Okay, and so that one is nice in that it doesn't require your typical compression driver mounting. You can actually just use wood screws going right through these holes here and into the back of the horn. So you don't require that undercut to have machine screws come in and secure the driver. So that's one that's it's kind of designed around, so that you see that cutout on the baffle, that rectangle cutout, that's designed to clear the compression driver. Okay, so another kind of interesting thing that happened back kind of in November, I had some speakers for sale on discount. I had some 1159 stand mount speakers for sale as a finished speaker, and so a customer purchased these stand mount speakers, and he, I guess, bought them to audition because he was interested in my 1680 speakers, which are quite a bit more money. It's a 10-inch two-way instead of a 6.5-inch two-way. So he was, I guess, apparently very impressed with the overall sound quality, enough that he decided to order the 1680 speakers. So just kind of a plug there, as far as oftentimes customers they're buying blind, in the sense that they don't know how good my products actually sound. This particular customer decided to take matters into his own hand and simply order these stand mount speakers, which were heavily discounted, and then from there was confident enough to move ahead with the 1680 speakers. So we're currently working on those and getting those finished. So another thing that you might want to keep in mind is the product matrix on my site. So this is kind of my own idea. I don't know of anybody else that's doing this, but it's a consecutive list of all the projects that I've been working on, and I've kind of color coded it. Black is basically finished, and then the blue text is it's ongoing, and there's going to be changes, stuff that's ongoing, I guess. So the reason I did this is because I do get calls occasionally from customers that are interested in products that are quite old. For example, the Summer Rain horn is probably 8 years old, and so it's been succeeded by the Sabrin horn, which is a more developed version of that large format mid-range horn. And so it just gives you an idea of what's current, what's being worked on, you know, and just keeps kind of an overall picture of the projects that I'm working on. So just if you're interested, just check that out. Another 3D CAD file is this baffle for the 6.5-inch Purify woofer, and then the beryllium tweeter from SB Acoustics, the WT29. So this is an advanced build for advanced DIY enthusiasts. It requires more setup on the CNC. It's very kind of requires a lot of precision in the way that it's you know, we're fitting around the surround in that waveguide. There's a lot of work. It's a highly developed design, but it's also a lot more complicated to build. But it's based on what I mentioned earlier, the 1159 design that was sent to, that the customer bought and eventually went to the 1680. So this gives you, you know, it gets you into that realm of sound quality, you know, but it's more work. Okay, so it's there on my site, and so I do offer, say, some pictures here, just what I mean in the way that it's holding the driver and there's machining required on both sides there. So so I think I covered everything. Just a general update on Joseph Crowe Custom Audio. So if you need anything, would like a quote, my contact page is in the description. Take care and have a great day.